So good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted to speak to you today about the beautiful Gaelic manuscripts held in the Russell Library at Maynooth University. I'm sorry I cannot be there live, but I do want to take the opportunity to thank the Rare Books Group for inviting me to speak about our collections and for accommodating me in spirit. So without further ado, the Russell Library is a research library which houses the historical collections of St. Patrick's College, Maynooth, including over 300 Gaelic manuscripts, the earliest of which dates from the 15th century. These manuscripts constitute one of the largest and most important collections in Ireland. Within this body, there are four major collections, listed and described in a printed catalogue begun by Paul Walsh in 1943 and completed by Pádraig ó Fianachta. These are the manuscripts of John Murphy, Bishop of Cork, Laurence Renehan, President of Maynooth, Eugene O'Curry, and also the manuscripts on long-term loan from St. Colman's College, Fermoy. The predominant character of the writings is devotional in nature, with a rich vein of poetry and Celtic tales. So in 2014, I was appointed manuscript cataloguer for the Gaelic manuscripts from St. Colman's College, Fermoy, where I created detailed metadata for this collection in our library management system, adhering to the descriptive cataloguing for manuscripts. I also surveyed the condition of the collection to aid conservation of the most fragile items and the future digitization of this collection. So to summarize, a collection of 50 Gaelic manuscripts from the library at St. Colman's College, Fermoy, was relocated to the Russell Library in August 2013 on a long-term loan basis. A large part of the collection was written by the O'Longan family, Micheál Óg and his sons. Some of the subjects include Irish literary heritage, particularly Irish grammar, poetry, adventure tales, religious tracts, Irish mythology, genealogies, and historical works. The original collection consisted of two separate parts, acquired by Father Maurice Kennefic, who was curate in Whitechurch, and these consist of the Kennefic collection with the prefix CF and the Pádraig de Barra collection with the prefix PB. It's most likely that all of these manuscripts were in the possession of Father Thomas Murray, who was the parish priest of Inniscarra. Father Maurice Kennefic was a noted Gaelic scholar and a collector of old manuscripts. He was also an author, historian, genealogist, and an academic, and he died in 1885. The Kennefic collection consists of 36 Gaelic manuscripts in excellent condition. They boast a number of scribes, including Éamon Ó Mathúna, Paul O'Longan, Shasiv or Joseph O'Longan, Sean na Rahinach Ó Murchada, Murhartig Vikshiti or Murthy Sheehy, and others include Sean O'Quailon, Dennis Murray, Sean O'Murray, Sean Clark MacDonald, Conchobar O'Lyman, Joseph Keefe, and Robert Horgan. The second half of this collection is listed as PB 1-14 and was in the possession of Father Pádraig de Barra, who taught in St. Colman's and became parish priest of Killala. 7 of these manuscripts were written by the scribal family de Barra and were presented to Father Pádraig from the community in Killala. When Father Pádraig died in 1974, Father Bertie Troy bought these manuscripts for St. Colman's, and unfortunately the provenance of the remaining 7 manuscripts in the PB collection is unknown. So to give you a flavour of some interesting items, a handful of the Gaelic manuscripts in this collection feature tracts on cryptology and the OM alphabet. These include Ora Septon and Ace, the scholar's primer, which originally date from the 7th century and form the basis of our modern understanding of the OM alphabet and its origins. There is also a tract on cryptology in one of our copies of the poem, A Dialogue Between Death and the Patient, written in the hand of Paul O'Longan. And you can see there the wonderful OM runes and Fion's window or Fion's wheel. As OM writing was mainly used by those studying poetry and grammar, this later form was written on manuscripts, and this ensured the survival of OM into modern times. Another fascinating manuscript is a 19th century copybook of Irish capital letters belonging to Joseph O'Longan. This has designs of Gaelic knotwork letters, ornamental or inhabited initials with various zoomorphic figures, some coloured in the traditional Irish style. And what I really love about this manuscript is that you can follow his thought process from the sketch and design to the colour used for Celtic capital letters. It would be remiss of me not to mention briefly some of our other Gaelic manuscripts held in the Russell Library. The Murphy manuscripts were bequeathed to St. Patrick's College, Maynooth, by John Murphy's brother in 1848 on behalf of himself and his brothers Daniel and Nicholas. Murphy was a generous patron concerned with preserving the richness of the Gaelic manuscript tradition. He collected 114 Irish manuscripts between the years 1816 and 1819. These were transcribed principally by the scribal family O'Longan during the 18th and early 19th century. They were bequeathed to St. Patrick's College, Maynooth in 1848. And some of the topics include bardic poetry, prayers and devotions, religious prose, historical tales in Irish, translations of Latin tracts, Munster poetry, and genealogies. We also hold some of Eugene O'Curry's manuscripts, which are also held in UCD and other libraries, as outlined by Evelyn today. O'Curry was a Gaelic scholar and professor of archaeology and Irish history at the Catholic University of Ireland. Maynooth has over 100 volumes of Gaelic manuscript materials, either collected or transcribed by O'Curry during his academic career. They were acquired by St. Patrick's College, Maynooth, following the closure of the Catholic University in 1909. The collection includes historical tales, medical texts, genealogies, poetry, and a small selection of copybooks covering subjects such as mathematics and arithmetic. So that leads us nicely to the Renehan manuscripts held in the Russell Library. Laurence Renehan was president of St. Patrick's College, Maynooth for 7 years in the 19th century. He bequeathed his collection of 100 manuscripts to the college, in addition to some rare books relating to the history of the Roman Catholic Church in Ireland. They include work relating to ecclesiastical history, as well as genealogies, romantic tales in Irish, and religious prose and verse. We have a small number of additional Gaelic manuscripts in the Russell Library, and these include B22. And B22 is a manuscript in 4 parts presented in 1998 to St. Patrick's College, Maynooth by An Tathair Pádraig Plamon of Coláiste an Chríonaofa, Carrignavar, Conte Corky. This manuscript has a lovely hand-coloured manuscript map drawn by Dunca O'Flynn. Another example is the Laur Ornatha. This consists of a collection of pre-famine prayers compiled by Dunca O'Flynn of Cork between 1800 and 1827. O'Flynn had moved from Carrignavar to Cork, where he became a merchant, and he had the use of the McCarthy Library, including the Book of Lismore. His last descendant gave this manuscript into the care of Bishop Lucy of Cork, who later gave it to St. Patrick's College, Maynooth. It's richly tooled in gold and bound in calf skin, with decorated end papers and coloured ribbons as bookmarks. It also has some of my favourite stunning manuscript illustrations in our collective manuscript collections, as you can see there. The last example is a printed book entirely in Irish, with a manuscript prayer included. It is Partha San Anma, meaning Paradise of the Soul, printed in Louvain in 1645. Sadly, our copy is imperfect, with a number of pages missing, but they have been replaced at some point in manuscript, and it also contains a manuscript prayer in a different hand. So then finally, just to note, several manuscripts have been digitized as part of the Irish Script on Screen project and are available at that address. The Murphy, Renehan, and O'Curry collections have been microfilmed and are available for consultation in the John Paul II Library. Pages from the manuscripts can be printed from our microfilm readers. The Fermoy Gaelic manuscripts are catalogued in-house to DCRM MMS standards and available to browse at our brand new Maynooth University Discovery portal for special collections. and that is the portal with the Fermoy Gaelic manuscripts fully discoverable in Summon using a keyword search for our Gaelic manuscripts. So thank you very much. These are my contact details if you wish to get in touch about the Gaelic manuscripts at Maynooth University or anything I spoke about today. And you can also follow our Twitter account where we post some interesting snippets of information from our collections. Thank you.